Hey Nerdgenic Nation, and welcome to History of. I'm your host and resident superhero nerd, Aaron Waller, and this is a series where we do a deep dive into various comic book characters, both heroes and villains, and get a little bit more insight as to who they are and why they do what they do. And today's episode is being released on Christmas Day, so if you celebrate Christmas or the holidays in general, I want to wish you and your family a happy holidays, Merry Christmas from me and the rest of the Nerdgenic team. And that is why in today's video, I want to talk about a very special character who's crossed the line, one of the very few, from Marvel to DC and very much in comics in general, and that's the jolly old fat man himself, Saint Nick, aka Santa Claus. Now, there's no original creator for Santa Claus in comics because, well, he's been around for a bit. But he first appeared in DC's Superman Christmas Adventures #1 in 1940 and would appear in Marvel Comics Strange Tales #34 in 1955. Santa has the typical lore of living in the North Pole, making toys with elves and bringing gifts on Christmas Eve to children around the world, and has appeared in many interactions across comics both as Santa or impersonators. In the DC universe, however, he has a bit more depth to his background, as according to John Constantine, Santa was actually Agios Nicholas and was born in Patara, Lycia, which is modern-day Turkey, in 270 CE. He would become a bishop and be known for performing miracles such as resurrecting the dead and being very charitable to the poor. He would pass away in 343 CE and ascend to sainthood, while his remains would stay in Turkey until it was invaded in the 11th century. In 2008's Hellblazer #247, John Constantine would locate the skeleton of Saint Nicholas and would have his remains sent back to England to be used for a ritual, but had to reduce them to a powder to get them through customs, and partially snorted by Constantine, claiming it was cocaine. As to whether or not the skeleton actually belonged to Saint Nick is up for interpretation, but according to Constantine it was. But of course, Santa would be brought up in other stories as well, including canceled comic Cavalcade #2, where the Sandman and his friend Jed would liberate Santa from the Seal Men for giving them bad gifts, which would turn out just to be a big misunderstanding. In DC Comics Presents #67, Superman would dream of helping Santa and visit the North Pole, then wake up to find a Kryptonian toy that no one could have known about other than the big guy himself. But probably the most iconic DC comic involving Santa is Lobo Paramilitary Christmas Special, where he was depicted as the opposite of how he's known and went by the name Chris Crusher Kringle and was a brutal dictator who ran the slave empire of elves from the North Pole. One day Lobo would be hired by one of Santa's rivals, the Easter Bunny, obviously. Lobo and Santa would exchange some pretty epic blows that I won't get into much detail here because it's so crazy you just have to read it yourself, but it ultimately ends with Lobo decapitating the big guy and having to go deliver the presents around the world. In the Marvel Universe, however, things are a little bit lighter, but not much. His stance within the public eye is very much the same of being the North Pole's gift giver, but he has been given some pretty wild stories. For example, he once claimed to be the world's greatest detective in an attempt to help She-Hulk solve the case of a serial killer in Sensational She-Hulk. He would trade blows with the Hulk, only kind of, as it was actually the Rhino impersonating a mall Santa. An evil robot version of Santa would be sent to kill the Avengers in Marvel's 2005 holiday special, but the coolest Marvel story involving Santa came in the Marvel Spectacular in 2009 that didn't just involve Santa, but also the Illuminati and the Infinity Gauntlet. I told you it was wild. In the very strange story, Saint Nick asked the Illuminati if he could borrow the Infinity Gauntlet to make his Christmas deliveries on time since his reindeer ended up being Skrulls. He would be given the gauntlet and Santa would be overwhelmed by the power and let it go to his head almost immediately and has to be defeated by the Avengers in order for his common sense to return. The story though does end rather happily with Iron Man loaning Father Christmas some robotic reindeer to deliver the gifts, so at least there's that. That's just the broadest scope of what happens in the story, and it's absolutely wild, but I highly recommend reading it. In terms of powers and abilities, this can vary from story to story, but Santa typically has super strength, is immortal to some capacity, and is able to use various types of magic. Plus he has the added benefit of having his sleigh, toy bag, magical elf sidekicks, and he's been seen using various weapons depending on the situation. And to be honest with you, I can't really blame him. He's got to travel around the entire world and deliver gifts to every single person in a single night. I mean, sometimes you just gotta travel strapped. So those are some of the things you need to know about Santa in comics. Did you learn anything in this video you may not have known otherwise? Are there any other wild Santa comic stories that I missed? Let me know down in the comment section down below, and while you're down there, make sure to leave me some suggestions for any characters you'd like to see in this series. Your suggestion might become next week's video. But also while you're down there, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and ring the bell notification so you miss out on any future content from me or the rest of the Nerdgenic team. And also just as important, make sure to like and follow us on Facebook so you don't miss out on any important news, blog articles that may be coming out on Nerdgenic.com. Anytime we announce that we're about to go live, anything like that, make sure to follow us on Facebook or Instagram, Twitter, all that good stuff. make sure you don't miss any of those announcements. But in the meantime, if you want even more video content from us, make sure to check out these videos on screen, like my recent trailer thoughts on the Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness video, which was so much fun. Make sure you check that out. Or if you're more into video games, check out Russ's review of the Halo Infinite campaign. Other than that, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for joining us this year. Thank you so much from us and the Nerdgenic team. And once again, happy holidays. And we hope to see you in the next video.